with us. You know this song. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out God between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
60s spirit. Do y'all remember the 60s? You don't have to tell us if you remember the 60s. As they say, if you remember the 60s, you weren't there. You notice we got the piano lit up this morning. Got a big old sound coming out of there. I'll just want to let you know Ryan is still sitting back there.
Oh, yeah.
We've also got a few people who've had unexpected reasons to not be here this morning, so thank goodness for Valerie Dennison and Sean O'Shea to jump back there and take care of things for us. We so appreciate having a deep bench around here at Unity of Music City. Hey, welcome. It's a day of authentic transformation. We're already excited about it, those of us who've been getting ready for this, and we know that it's going to happen. Voices of Unity is going to be singing for you in a little bit. That's always exciting. And we're going to figure out how to transform our world together. At least that's what Reverend Denise has promised us earlier. Here's a few events that we've got going on this week. Today, we were supposed to have, right after the service, the men's support group meeting. Dave Harrison is currently physically experiencing the manifestation of an illness that he doesn't really have. Is that okay? All right. Yes. I want to make sure I got all that in there. But at any rate, Dave is not here today. They'll be going back to the first Sunday in March, so join them there. But this afternoon, later on, we do have Reiki and Restorative Yoga with Becky Astorita upstairs, 3:45 to 6 p.m. And then this Tuesday night, while I'm on the Becky train here, Empath Support with Becky from 7 to 9 this Tuesday night. So those are going on this week. Also this week, Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, is the next planning meeting for Nashville Chooses Peace. Now, folks, let me just say this to you. I'm just going to, no filter, all right? No filter. I'm just going to put it right out there. If you are waiting to get involved, is that the wrong date?
Yeah,
February 20th. If you are waiting to get involved with Nashville Chooses Peace, now is the time. Now is the time. We're 2 months out. 2 months out. So now is the time. Come out and join us Tuesday night. We need your brains. We need your abilities. We need your skills. We need the way you see the world. And so it's a great group of people. You'll really be enriched by it. So come on out this Tuesday night at 6 p.m. and join us. Also this week, I know there's something else. I've got it here on my notes. See, they messed with my desk when they lifted the piano lid. So, you know, I have to rearrange my desk. All right, here we go. Thursday night. This Thursday night from 7 to 9, Mediumship and Intuitive Development Circle with Susie Wright.
Yeah.
That's correct, Susie.
Yeah. Come
on out and join Susie for a really powerful evening. And then Friday night, this Friday night, Spirituality Unplugged with Frank Castellano. There'll be discussions on those spiritual questions you may be pondering. It is a potluck, so bring a dish to share. It starts at 6:30 this Friday night. We have pretty much something every night this week. If you only grow on Sundays, it is not our fault. We're trying. We're doing everything we can. One way to grow is to sing. Let's stand up and do it, shall we?
See it.
time. We've got a few really important things to share with you now. First, I'm asked Reverend Dee to come on up and talk to us a little bit more about the McGavock Cluster Coalition that she mentioned last
And
week.
I don't know if Valerie was able to get it. Oh, she was. Cool. Know that I very, very seldom stand up here and ask for money, even for the church. That's between you and God. But I am up here this morning asking for some money. So, hang on to your hats and I will explain why. Linda Wanamaker has an amazing ministry that we do things out in the community to make life better. One of the things that I do is I belong to the Donaldson Hermitage Chamber and I belong to the Metro Nashville Chamber of Commerce. And one of our initiatives in both of those chambers is to help education in the Nashville area. Because Nashville and Tennessee are struggling some with getting students to graduate from high school. Jill can talk to you all about that. And there are many different ways that different sides of Nashville are attempting to work with that. There's a group that I have just become a member of called the McGavock Cluster Coalition. And what we are doing is we are enticing, putting a carrot in front of kids' faces, going, if you partake of this, you can graduate from high school, and then you have a wider opportunity, because if you don't get a high school diploma, your opportunities lessen. What I have done is jumped out there on a whim, which I don't usually do. They are having a breakfast on March the 22nd, and no, you're not asked to come to that breakfast because it starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, and most of you don't want to do that. But I have put us down for a table for $500. Let me tell you what happens with that money. There will be some seniors possible and their parents that might sit at those tables. There might be some council people that will sit at those tables. There might be some school board people that will be eating breakfast there that will be waited on by the McGavock students. They will be performed, McGavock students will perform for them. This $500 will go towards one scholarship for one student. That's what our table will do. In the last 3 years, McGavock has given 187 $500 scholarships to these students. Last year alone, 87 students got a scholarship. Let me tell you what they have to do to get $500. They have to be able to graduate, and they have to have a 21 on their ACT, and they have to have a 3.0 average, which will help them get into a college. Some of you may be aware, Deb can tell you more about that, that in Nashville there is a Tennessee Promise situation, that if I make a 21 on my ACT and if I graduate from high school, I've got a free ride for 2 years in college, paid for. I don't have to pay that. So this is a huge deal. So what we're asking for the next 2 weeks is that if you are interested for us to be able to purchase a table and at least give one gift of $500 that will go to a student, when you write an extra check today, don't be the one you give to church, but an extra check that is written to us, Unity of Music City, and in the memo line says McGavock Coalition, or just McGavock. That's all I'm asking. I have a feeling that we can do this. We can come up with $500 to help a student graduate from high school. Thank you. Amazing.
One thing, Denise, just because in case somebody has students who will be heading to college eventually, yes, you have to have that 21 and that on the ACT and the 3.0 to get the McGavock scholarship. The Tennessee Promise is for all Tennesseans. You only have to maintain a 2.0. It's an open entry kind of thing. And by the way, since I'm talking higher education, you know how we are, right? The Tennessee Reconnect starts this fall. If you are over the age of 24 and do not have a college degree, you can go to college for free at one of Tennessee's community colleges. See me afterwards. We are doing some awesome things, and I just want to mention some of the other things Linda and her team are doing. As you know, we're always collecting items for the Pennington Elementary School Teachers Lounge, and we're always working on the Dodson Chapel Food Pantry. Details about those things are out in the lobby. Next week, I believe, is the week when we're expecting to have some friends from the Old Friends Senior Dog Sanctuary here. So we got a lot of old dogs running around here. Actually. But we're gonna have have a few that are actually living unconditional love on a daily basis, so we'll learn something from them. So you don't want to mention that. You don't want to miss that. And then coming up in March, I just want to put this bug in your ear. You're probably going to be hearing about something that Linda's going to share with you, where we're going to get involved with yet another ministry in our area that works with women coming out of sex trafficking, which is a significant problem here in Middle Tennessee. I'm really proud of that because my cousin is the executive director of that ministry, and I'm really proud of the work she's doing. So, you'll be hearing about that. Lunch Bunch this week, 11:30 on Wednesdays, of course, in the Namaste Cafe. And Wednesday evening at 7 p.m., once again, is the Winter Feast for the Soul, beginning March 7th, which is not next week, 2 weeks or so, something like 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, we'll be starting with Keep a True Lent. Charles Fillmore's Keep It True Lent. So come on out and join us midweek. Pete?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Will the other prayer chaplains please stand? The prayer chaplains are here to pray with you, and at this time I will just mention that we have also, with the help of Valerie and Crystal, updated our prayer request section on our website, the Unity of Music City website, if you'd like to request prayer there. Thank you. There will be a prayer chaplain in the prayer room after the service also. So, we're still in February, and we're still focused on love. Loving God, loving each other, loving ourselves. Isn't that what the journey is all about? So, the affirmation, you know this. I am beloved. Beloved, I am. You are beloved. Beloved, you are. And we are beloved. Beloved, we are. Say it with me. I am beloved. Beloved, I am. You are beloved. Beloved, you are. We are beloved. Beloved, we are. I am becoming the heart of humanity. You are becoming the heart of humanity. We are becoming the heart of humanity. Through perfecting our individual heart vibrations, each of us is bringing patterns of perfection for the new earth to the physical plane through our personal and collective prayers and meditations. In alignment with universal law, the call for assistance must come from the realm where assistance is needed. Ask, and it shall be given. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and the door shall be opened unto you. We are asking living, loving Spirit to raise our individual vibrations of love in this moment for life-transforming patterns to manifest in the physical earth plane. As light workers, these changes can be drawn through each of our hearts. An influx of light beyond the frequency we have previously experienced is bathing our planet. This influx of light has been intensifying for some time. The light of love is permanently available for each of us to use in the process of transforming our lives and the lives of those we touch. So, let's take advantage of this cosmic opportunity. Let's join our hearts and minds with the heart and mind of our Father, Mother, God, the hearts and minds of the entire company of heaven, and the hearts and minds of the I Am presence of every man, woman, and child on earth. I am beloved. Beloved, I am. You are beloved. Beloved, you are. We are beloved. Beloved, we are.
Just settle into your seats. And again, hear these words. I am beloved. Beloved, I am. Take those words in and drop those 18 inches to your heart space. And again, here, I am beloved. Beloved, I am. Feel that. feel your heart resonate with those words. Begin to feel your heart expand. I am beloved. Beloved, I am. The raising of our personal vibration begins with loving ourselves, with acknowledging the divine within each of us, and first within ourselves. I am beloved. Beloved, I am. As we go into the silence. The silence. I am beloved. Beloved, I am. And now I draw in my mind's eye the face of someone that I want to know that they are beloved. And so I get that face in my mind. And I hear the words, you are beloved. Beloved, you are. You are beloved. Beloved, you are. You are beloved. Beloved, you are. don't know about you, but this has been a difficult week for me. Hence, this lesson was planned in October of last year, or this Sunday. So God knew. God knew what we needed to hear. So what I want to tell you is we're going to be talking about deep intuition on demand. So somebody holler and tell me what on-demand television is all about. What's that about? You get what you want when you want it. Right now, how many of you are able to stay in a place of response and not reaction when you get triggered? What if you could have that place of deep intuition on demand when you needed it? I've got about 12 to 15 people that have very religiously been coming to Winter Feast for the Soul. That's part of what that evening is about. Learning how to attach yourself to that place inside you that knows that it knows that love is the answer. I was in a meeting with One Nashville yesterday, and it got really heated. I expected it to. We broke off into 5 different groups, and one of the groups that was meeting was talking about violence in the streets of Nashville. And I kept going into that room and monitoring it because Carl was in there too. There were 2 or 3 gentlemen that I thought, oh, this is going to be exciting in just a moment. Carl, I'm going to have you be the bouncer, right? But at one point in time, I heard someone say, you cannot fight fire with fire. You get that? We have to have a way to go to that place in our hearts and get to that place of deep intuition so that we know that we know that we know that love is the answer to any question every day. But I want to tell you something else. This has been a magical week for me because I've been going through and in through all kinds of bizarre experiences. I went to a leadership learning thing by a woman by the name of Erica Burnett on Friday morning, and what she kept saying is something we say in Unity. We stay from here up all the time. We're here up. We don't pay attention to the rest of our bodies, and we're just talking and yakking and saying what our heads tell us to say, and we're not paying any attention. We get that. We get that. So how do I give myself a push pause and drop to that place of intuition when I need it? That's what today's about. We do practice all the time. We do reset breath in here almost every Sunday morning. But do I remember to do it when I need it? There's the deal. Because when somebody pushes my triggers, I may go, but I forget to drop. Does that make sense? I just keep blowing. And who knows what's going to come out if I keep blowing. So then I just run off. It's like, ooh, if I keep blowing, there's no telling what might come out of me. Did you hear me say several times, I am the heart of humanity? Do you understand that that's what you're doing when you drop those 18 inches to your heart space, is holding that vibration of love, not just for yourself, but for everybody else? One of the experiences we had on Wednesday night several weeks ago is hold that space for someone you love but you struggle with sometimes. But then there was hold that space for someone you don't like at all. You ever tried that? That's a little bit more challenging. That's how we thrive in life's extremes, which is what our overarching theme is this year. How do I do that? I think Holy Spirit knew we would be living in life's extremes this year. And they're getting more extreme day after day, are they not? And how do I do that? I have to adapt. Now, I want you to hear me very clearly because I have 2 people that left this congregation about 5 weeks ago and have been mad at me ever since they heard this word adapt, because their thought was, I have to be okay with what's going on. I am not saying that. I am saying we have to adapt our responses. Does that make sense? I have to adapt my responses because old responses are not working anymore. I'm probably going to push some buttons today because I've been pushing my own all week. People that get out there and pontificate on Facebook, nobody wants to hear all that. Do you hear me? I'm sounding like my mama. Nobody wants to hear all of that unless they ask you to pontificate. They don't want to. We weren't asked. Ask and it shall be given unto you. And did you hear the other thing that B read? I think it's very important. The situation at hand, the people that are in the situation have to ask before the love is going to come. I can pontificate for 400 paragraphs on Facebook all day long, and that's not going to help. That's only going to stir the shit, excuse me. Can you hear that from the place of love that I'm saying it? I have to adapt my responses. All that I'm saying lately on Facebook is I'm holding the high watch for you. And I have people out there in all kinds of religions that are having conversations on the side with me. What does that mean? They've asked, and I'm going to tell them. Does that make sense? I have to give deep, intuitive responses to what's going on. If I give an impulse response, it is not going to be the same as if I push the pause button and go right here. So hear me. Today's lesson is not going to be mamby-pamby. It's going to go deep. Put your seatbelt on. Just look at those pictures for a minute. Those are 17 people that are no longer on the planet since Wednesday. Alyssa Al-Haldev is part of a soccer team. Her team members wrote, "Let's live for Alyssa. Be her voice and breathe for her. Alyssa, you are loved forever." Scott Beagle, 35-year-old geography teacher, had unlocked his door to let a student in from the hallway when he heard the gunshots and was attempting to lock the door back. What I can tell you is some doors, and they've shifted some of this in metro schools, but the doors in Pennington Elementary you used to have to lock from the outside. You know what I'm talking about, those of us who've taught in Metro before. Some of the doors had to be locked from the outside. And we at Pennington screamed and screamed so many years ago and said, this is not safe. I have to go out in the hall to lock the door, and I'm supposed to be keeping all these kids safe? This geography teacher had gone out in the hall to lock the door and got the door locked somehow or other, but was shot in the hallway. And one of the students said, if the shooter had come into our room, I wouldn't be talking to you now. I owe my life to Mr. Beagle. Martin Duquay, 14-year-old freshman, on Valentine's Day had posted a picture of himself and two of his friends on Facebook. And his best friend had posted underneath it, "I can't believe what's happened in a few hours. I love you, my brother Martin. You will be missed. I know you're in a better place. Rest in peace." Nicholas Warrett was a senior, a swimmer. He was planning to compete next year at the University of Indianapolis on a swimming scholarship. His mom stated that it was all he talked about, and he was so excited about being able to continue his love of swimming through his college years. I just want you to hear that these were people, not just faces out there on the internet. Aaron Weiss, 37-year-old assistant football coach, was attempting to protect and shield his students when he was gunned down. His students stated, "He will forever be our hero." Jamie Gutenberg, 9th grader. 14-year-old, loved to dance and hoped to become an occupational therapist, and her aunt said she had always looked out for the underdog and the bullied, and she had been a friend of that student the year before, somehow or other. Chris Hickson, 49, athletic director for the high school. His fellow colleagues stated that he was never hesitant in jumping in and doing what was needed. He volunteered every day during his planning time to walk and monitor the halls to create a safer environment for the student, and it was in that role that he apparently came in contact with the shooter. It was what he did every day. Kara Logren, 14-year-old freshman, loved the beach, loved playing with her friends. One of her friends wrote on her Facebook, "We will always love you. Go fly high on that mountain with the angels. Our world will never be the same without you." Gina Montalto, freshman, color guard member, participated in winter guard activities with her team. It was said of Gina, she was the sweetest soul anyone could ever meet. She was smart, loving, caring, and strong, and she will be missed by all of her family and friends. Jacqueline Oliver, 17, was known by his nickname Guac, short for guacamole, because many of his friends couldn't pronounce his first name. He was excited to be graduating from high school soon and excited about the next steps in his life. And his friend posted, "I have to say that he will never know what it means to graduate from high school." Meadow Pollock, 18 years old, a senior, had planned to attend Lynn University. One of her friends wrote, "She was the sweetest girl anyone has ever known. An angel was taken from us." Alex Schachter, trombone and baritone player, was a sweetheart of a kid, according to social media. In honor of his 14-year-old freshman son, a relative of the youth's father started a GoFundMe page in the memory of Alex to help other kids experience the joy of music. Luke Hoyer, 15, enjoyed life, enjoyed being with his friends, had a big heart of service. His parents literally had to search several hospitals before they got the news that he had died. His teachers said of Luke, he was just one of those good kids that everybody wanted to be around, including the teachers. Peter Wang, 15-year-old ROTC student, was said of him he wasn't interested in status, he was interested in helping others, and he was last seen holding the door so other students could escape the building. Elena Petty, 14-year-old, she loved to serve. She had the heart of a servant and had jumped in numerous times to volunteer and assist those lives that had been devastated during the hurricanes in Florida. Helena Ramsey, 17, a senior, one of her family members posted on Facebook, "She was a smart, kind-hearted, and thoughtful person, was deeply loved and loved others even more so. She was brilliant and witty, and I'm wrestling with the idea that she is actually gone. She would have started college next year." Carmen Schwentrup, National Merit Scholarship semi-finalist, one of the 53 in the country. Carmen had a relentless motivation for academics, and all of her teachers loved her. Her friends admired her motivation. She had aspirations of being in Washington, D.C. someday because she said, "I hate Florida's hot weather." I don't know how you're feeling right now, but I hope it touched your heart on some level. Because we cannot stay in our heads about this situation. We cannot just get out there and fight about this situation. We have to have a deep space of intuition, because the answers that we have used before in our world are not working, people. They're not working. And so what do? Yesterday in the fellowship hall where Carl and I were, we heard how easy it is to buy a gun on the street. $50, $100. One of the women,
2 tennis shoes.
that's what I was getting ready to say. One of the women talked about that she had paid a lot of money. If you buy some of these very, very expensive tennis shoes, it costs a lot of money, 100, most more than that. And that her child, is it her child or grandson? I don't remember now. Had gotten a handgun by giving his tennis shoes to the person he got it from. Of course, these are stolen weapons. Do you realize how easy it is to get a handgun? You realize how easy it is for things like this to happen. Now the hard part. How do I have one divine thought? There's the issue. Because I've pushed everybody's buttons in here. I've pushed my own. Everybody in here related at least deeply to one of those students, if not more, or one of those teachers. And so then how do I respond instead of react from a place of, if I'm just crying and all upset, I'm reacting with sympathy, not empathy. If I'm mad, I'm trying to fight fire with fire. How do I get there? Viktor Frankl says between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Can you hear that? It's a place right between what's going on and where you want to go. Because we all do. I see it on Facebook all the time. We all sometimes go, "Rrr." And then people will call me and come in to see me and go, how come I got all these people mad at me? Because you went, "Rrr." Your intuition is the GPS of your soul. Is yours turned on? You can't go out into the world and expect to be calm if you don't have it turned on. That's why I say to people, you got to do this first thing in the morning. You cannot go out there into the midst of all this chaos and not have this connected. Because if you do, you're going to react to something. And there's not enough bathroom stalls in Nashville to hold us all. So we can go in there and just go, okay, I gotta do this. I gotta do this thing. Here's what's happening. Because I understood, I heard 2 or 3 men in the fellowship hall yesterday, and they were passionate. Passionate. But we can be passionate about things that will not help. And how do we figure that out? When we're doing what we've always done, and we just keep doing it, what do you call that? Insanity. Some of us have to stand up and do something different. Some of us. I don't know what organizations you're attached to, but we have to show up differently. We have to be the ones that we're waiting for. We have to be the people that are going to go, I'm going to do this differently. Because as the woman said yesterday, you cannot fight fire with fire. It just makes a bigger mess. We have to know that love is the answer. It's easy to sing that in here, isn't it? I know, Jill, I see you all the time. I'm like, bless you. Jill's in the middle of the fire. All the time. Being on the school board. How do you stay in that place of love? How do we do it? This is the hardest part. I saw some of you go, whoo, can't look at him. That's the shooter. Now we say in unity that we can remember our oneness with all creation, except him. I want you to hear a few things that might make it harder. He admitted that he was the gunman who entered the school campus armed with an AR-15 and began shooting students that he saw in the hallways and on the school grounds. The report does not outline why he decided to carry out the attack. However, he allegedly offered additional details about how it was planned and carried out. He bought the AR-15 legally in February of 2017. And packed additional ammunition magazines for the rifle in his black backpack. Authorities say he was spotted being dropped off in an Uber by a school employee who recognized the 19-year-old as a former troubled student. If that doesn't ring a bell on you, just pay attention. He had been on Facebook chatting with friends about hating Jews and blacks and Mexicans and wanting to kill them. He said, "My real mom was a Jew and I'm glad I never had to meet her." He stated that he hated gay people and he thought that we should shoot them all in the back of the head. Members of the group also spoke often about weapons, including one member who suggested to Cruz that he should buy an accessory for his AR-15 rifle that would allow the gun to rapidly fire like an automatic weapon. After getting his last paycheck, Cruz also told the group at one point that he was using the money to purchase body armor. And then he posted the receipt on his Facebook page. When I say that we have to adapt, we have to pay attention. Judy was telling me yesterday, and I cannot remember it, so I'm going to hand you a microphone. You probably shoot me later. That's okay. About a grandmother and what she did, and I was like, yay, raw tootie. People are waking up a little bit. So tell them what you saw yesterday.
And I think some of you all may have read the same thing I did. It was a grandmother in Washington State, who had gotten into her grandson's journal and realized that he was making entries into that journal similar to what this kid was doing on Facebook, and talking about that he was going to be the greatest mass murderer, and he discussed even the mistakes that the other people had made and what he was going to do to not make the same mistakes. He was laying it out in black and white, and his grandmother turned him in, and it is being held as a heroine because she prevented no telling how many murders.
Does that make sense? Sometimes the hard things that we have to do may be saying those hard things to some of our friends or people that we know. And I'll just let that sit there. Because I know I have seen massive amounts of people on both sides of the issue of guns. And I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong, but a gun in a school like that is never going to be a pretty thing. Ever. I don't know what we do about it. I have no idea. I don't know if we put metal detectors at all the doors, and do you know how many doors did they have at Glencliff?
137 exterior doors.
137 exterior doors at Glencliff. I know there's at least that many at McGavock, and I can promise you as a mother, I could have always walked up to any of those doors and knocked on it, and some student would have known me because they saw me there all the time and let me in. I could have come in with anything. So, I don't know how we fix this, but I know that Holy Spirit knows how we fix this, and we have to get out of our heads into our hearts. Kenny?
As long as we're talking about this, one of the main reasons this is happening is there are no long-term mental health care facilities.
You are correct. And that was part of our conversation yesterday in One Nashville. Is it mental health? Is it guns? Is it both of those things? And money is an issue. We all know that. And hear me, we can't solve all this today, but I want you to know that it is ours to begin to look at solutions. It's not other people's. We've all been sitting around for how many years waiting for somebody else to do it? We talked last week, and we're going to do an experience in a few minutes about heart and brain coherence. When something comes across my radar screen and I get frustrated or angry or something like that, that's what my heart and brain coherence is going to look like up there at the top. Do you want it to look like that? I would much rather be some sort of a calm coherence between my heart and my brain. But what happens is my brain tells me, oh, I've got to do this, 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 I've got to do this. Because this is bad. Danger, 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 danger. Love, love, love. Love is what? Yes. Do we believe that? Yes. Or do we believe that I have to put fire on this? The very first Sunday in February, and I'm not going to read it today again, but Myrtle talked about how she healed her body. Not with medicines, not with going to the doctor, not with any of those things. She healed her body by her thoughts. And she sent love, love, love to her body and her organs. And when she got frustrated, because we all do sometimes, frustrated that our body won't do what we want it to do. Do we send frustration vibrations to our body, or do we send love and appreciation? There's the deal. Talk to your DNA. Or do you go, oh, that's my DNA and I can't change it? Our DNA is like a genie in a bottle, except that they are genes in our body connected to the unified field of the universe. They react to our thoughts to make our wishes a reality by attracting people, things, and experiences which we desire and think about most. What I know about myself is if I've ever been sick, I think about it a lot. And I get sicker. And then if you post it on Facebook, you get sicker. Because then you got 300 or 400 friends that are thinking about it too. Oh, they're sick. Woo! Do you want everybody to think you're sick? I don't know if you've thought about this, because yesterday I told Judy, I said, sometimes I feel like I'm a talking head, just up here blabbing, and then I see what people are putting out there, and I'm like, they don't get it. When I post on Facebook, I am sick, I have the epizootic blotty. Everybody goes, wow, okay, they're sick. They have the epizootic blotty. Let's all vibrate at sickness. Now know that there's prayer chaplains. Some of you raise your hands, those prayer chaplains. Those people have been trained to hold the space and not keep seeing you as sick. That's what they're trained to do. Call one of them and quit posting it on Facebook. Please. Because then I have to erase it out of my brain. I'm like, oh, law mercy. Does that make sense? Do we believe what we teach or not? There's the bottom line. There's the bottom line. What do you think about the most? Chocolate. Because whatever you think about the most is what you have in your world right now. Do you understand that piece? If you're struggling with something, it's because you're thinking about it a lot. Most of you probably that are my friends on Facebook know that I was a part of Vagina Monologues. That was an amazing adventure with 30 women. And what I had had the chance to do was sit with all of those women at different times because they wanted to know about unity. And I said a thing, thoughts in mind reproduce after their kind. They were like, oh, what's that mean? That's not cool. So does that mean what I think is going to happen? Yeah. They were all excited. We don't care. Thoughts in mind reproduce after their kind. And I'm going to go on and think all this other stuff about all the sickness and nastiness that's in the world. I'm just going to think about all that. Thoughts in mind reproduce after their kind. That is so simple. One divine thought. Pray, meditate, and act. That's all unity is. It's the simplest process in the world, but we don't do it when we're struggling. Because we're back at that frustration place, right? And so I'm sending that vibration of frustration. We need to call Judy Bernard and tell her to bring her gongs to our house and just gong and gong and gong and gong till we get it. Till we get it. Quit it. Do you know that you're loved beyond measure? Do you know that you are loved beyond measure? Yes. I heard a few yeses. Do you know that you are loved beyond measure? Yes. And some of you are still not answering. And that's okay. Because that's what today is about. Because I cannot love this guy that killed 17 people until I love me. And so if I'm not loving him, I'm not loving me. Does that make sense? So hang in there with us. We're getting close. We have this song and we have one more. But I want the choir to join me. My amazing partner, Judy Blackwelder, writes the most amazing music. And sometimes this gets it across better than me talking. And so a song that was on one of our CDs many years ago that our beloved Jerry Rickle did, we're going to do this morning called Loved Beyond Measure. I hope you can take these words in because they are for you.
Once upon a time, light years ago, an awesome God set this world into motion. Once upon a time, not so long ago, I began to understand complete devotion. I am loved beyond measure, a divine priceless treasure. To my own self be true is all I have to do. I was free. soul flies free. I am loved beyond measure, a divine priceless treasure. To my own self be true is all I have to do. I was created to live life celebrated. That's the way God loves me, and God loves you. That's the way God loves me. That's the way God loves you. That's the way we'll be loved our whole lives
Thank you for
I want you to hear these words, and then I want you to say them with me. But just listen to them once. I was created to live life celebrated. That's the way God loves me, and God loves you. Can you hear that? Say it with me. I was created to live life celebrated. That's the way God loves me, and God loves you. I want you to say that to someone sitting close to you. Ready? Find somebody. I was created to live life celebrated. That's the way God loves me, and God loves you. One more time. Because you've got to convince yourself and that person, and they're doing the same for you. Ready? I was created to live life celebrated. That's the way God loves me, and God loves you. Does that not feel good? Here's what has to happen. And that doesn't happen every day. Remember that frustrated place where your brain and your heart are fighting? We got to get them to fall in love. It's the month for it to happen. They've got to get along. But I hear people all the time, oh, I can't do what my heart says because I'll get in trouble. Look at who's laughing. We'll talk later over a glass of wine or two. How's that? What are we afraid of? Do you realize that implanted in your heart are the desires of your heart? It says so in the scriptures. God placed the desires in that you have. They're right there in your heart. And your heart is not going to steer you wrong. Can you hear that? But we in our world have said, oh, this brain is the most important thing, and I've got to follow all that, and I've got to have stats, and I've got to have big old pages that have this plan, and where am I going to go in the next 5 to 10 years? Woo! Where's my heart going to take me in the next 5 to 10 years? Does that make sense? So what we're going to do is we're going to let love ring. We have to believe that love is the most important thing here. Love is the answer. Say that with me.
Love is the answer.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
Love is the answer. And when we become what we're looking for, when we become what we're longing for, we are knocking on heaven's door. We are asked in the scriptures to create the kingdom of heaven right here amongst us. And the way to do that is this.
Good stuff there. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna throw this right here because we got a mic stand right here and I don't want anybody to trip over it. We're getting ready for our sacred walk of abundance and the affirmations are right over here. So you can stay far, far away from that mic stand. And if someone starts to walk toward it, you just nudge them over, okay? Just a reminder that if you want to donate something to the McGavock Cluster Coalition, to write a separate check, put for McGavock Cluster in the memo line, but you can write it to Unity of Music City. If you want to donate that way via the square, Charlotte can probably figure out the logistics of that for you after church. If you'll take your tithes, offerings, and gifts in your hand and say the offering affirmation along with me, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
hands and our hearts and our minds, and we let our heart and our brain fall in love today. And we just hold that vibration of love, because we know that as we put that vibration out into the world, everything that we need will come back to us. And it will come back to us heaped up, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, for that's the law, and so it is.
Amen. Oh, wow. Let me tell you something. My heart and brain are in love, but the heart had to make the first move. Brain was playing hard to get, so you might want to just keep that in mind as you work through that. Let's all stand together and join hands and sing this song.
Thank you. Just a few.
Egypt, China.